That's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen, and that is Jack Cooley joining us from an undisclosed location. Played basketball at Notre Dame, played for the Kings, played for the Suns, played for the Jazz as well. And now the Ryukyu Golden Kings out in Japan. How much are you enjoying Japan? And B, is that where you plan on being for the rest of your career?
Yeah. I mean, first, I'm happy to be here. I know we were chatting, but yeah, I'm happy to be here. And yeah, Japan is unbelievable. I love it there. The fan base is incredible. The support there, that the culture is just so kind and so nice, and everyone's so accepting, and it's the place. And to latch on to the second question, yeah, it's where I want to finish up my career. I mean, I've always said, even with this team, I don't want to leave the Kings, and I'm going to do everything in my power to get the finish with them. And yeah, I'm having a good time here, and I'm really enjoying. I mean, I'm in paradise. It's Okinawa. It's just this tropical island. I live near the beach, and I play basketball. So I'm not. I would love to end my time there.
Jack, we're watching the NBA Finals play out, but really it started like the whole second half of the season. When you're watching the way that the officiating has changed here and how it's being officiated, not only in the finals, but in that last like 25, 30 games, like, number one, how much do you want to play in a league where that's the way it's officiated?
Yeah.
But also, like, how surprised are you that the league has made this dramatic shift and how it's played out here?
Yeah, I mean, I just think, and it's kind of going to stem into what's going in the finals. I think that free throws are boring, and it's just like, I don't think that they want these games lasting forever, and I just think that and the complaints to the officiating has just gotten. I mean, there's one player in particular, we all know who, and it's just outrageous how it impacts the game. Yeah, in the finals right now.
DJ Washington, I knew it.
Yeah, and it's classic DJ. And it's just it's good to see, because I also think current players are like, man, everybody calls this current time soft, and we're just all babies, and we wouldn't last back in the day, And I think the game is a physical game. It is. It involves some physicality, and I like the way it's being officiated. And when you're playing overseas, you look at NBA players complaining about the quality of NBA officials, and you're like, if only you knew the dumpster fire we have going on over here, and the elite refs that you actually have in the NBA. It's unique to see. It really is.
Is that the biggest difference playing overseas? Because you also played in Greece, correct? Italy. So you also played in Italy. So is that the kind of the biggest difference outside of talent that you notice playing in those leagues?
Yeah, the officiating level. I mean, it's just because the NBA refs have such a defined like growth pattern. Like, it's just like you have these different steps you go through, and you grow, and then you eventually get promoted to the NBA, and you have to pass these checks to get there. Whereas overseas, those checks, those lines are a little more blurred. And, some of the officiating is a little lackluster. So that, and obviously the talent level, are two of the bigger things. So I think the change, though, in the officiating is good for the game. I really do. I think it'll help the NBA. I think it'll improve some of the grifting that a lot of people are really, really don't like watching.
It was so bad last night.
We are very much anti-grifting in general, but anti-foul grifting.
This is a no grifting show.
It is a no grifting, like in general, no grifting, but certainly no foul grifting.
Unless you want to advertise on the show, in which case I will grift all.
We will grift. If that's Jack, when you're watching the level of play that we're watching from the Celtics, this is one of those just magic moments where a couple of guys figure it out. That's what it feels like. It feels like they're just coming of age at the right time together as a team, but also their two stars are sort of old enough and mature enough to accept what it is to be in the finals, and how difficult it is to be there, and how difficult it is to win. Is that something you're seeing, and how cool is it to see sort of the progression of players like this, like Jason Tatum, like Jaylen Brown?
I think it's incredible, really. And like you said, I think they learned quite a bit the last time they were there and they lost. I think they were able to kick those jitters, and now they kind of feel a lot more confident. But also, even in Game 3, there was a little stretch where Tatum was settling for some terrible threes, and his team is just so well built and so smart. He's got Holiday and even Hauser. They did such a good job of exposing Luka on defense to kind of offset some of Tatum's I mean, they're not, it's Jason Tatum, they're not, I'm not going to say that these pull-ups are terrible shots, but I think that the whole team as a unit did a very good job of picking him up, and that gives them confidence to build off of, where they're like, oh, I had 2 bad shots, but we're still in this game, everything's okay. And then they can still settle down a little more and keep getting people involved. And that's just another sign of growth, where they don't try to dominate these games at the end and do too much, forgetting that they have really good pieces around them. And again, I think the Celtics organization, that team is so well built, and just it really is. It's really done well. And again, it goes along with the timeline, and they're improving each and every game. So
it kind of feels like this is, and we're talking with Jack Cooley here, former Sacramento King. It feels like this is just kind of where this entire season's been heading. Yeah. We needed to see Boston prove it in the finals, right? "Quote unquote," prove it in the finals. But now that they have, they're just kind of imposing their will the same way they have since October. Right?
Yeah, it felt like
just so much better than everybody.
Julian inevitability. I mean, it kind of felt maybe if the Nuggets got there, they could do something. I think if the Timberwolves would have gotten through, I think that their just overall swagger might have really tested the Celtics. But I don't know. They're just so confident going into this and just cutting the head of the snakes off. And I mean, even Kyrie played well last night. So it's an inevitable. But this team is so good. It's so good. And barring injury, they were going to make the finals. We all knew that. And it was depending on what team came out of the West and how healthy they were. And again, this is just kind of, it's some years they're just the team that's steamrolling, just steamrolls. And that's just how it is.
When you're looking at the Mavericks, I mean, I'm not sure that they have a way out of this situation. I mean, down, 0-3, it's pretty much over. But I also like going back through your history. You played with at least one of these players. You played with Dante Exum and his rookie season during your time in Utah. You also played with Rudy Gobert as a young player who almost made it to the finals here. Do you still pull for guys that you played with? Is that part of like the experience when you're watching the finals or Western Conference finals?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm so happy for Dante. He was in such a tough situation in Utah, and he's such a gifted player. And then I think he went to Cleveland after that, and it was still that wasn't a team where it was easy to develop and have success. And then he went overseas, and then people were like, "Oh yeah, Dante's really good at basketball, and he's just dominating the EuroLeague." And then he comes back and he's shooting so well, which was always his big draw, because defensively and his movements, he's so gifted. So I always pull for him. Obviously, I mean, I know a lot about his game, and I pull for him. And Rudy, I'm always a fan of Rudy. Rudy was so nice to me when I first got to Utah, and we'd go over to his house all the time. We'd play video games and we'd go to dinner and stuff. So those guys, I do always pull for them most of the time. My favorite player in the league is still Foxy, but I pull for all the guys I've played with.
So I have a 2-part question here. I know you watch the Kings still quite a bit. When you jump on League Pass or whatever you have to watch games, are the Kings the team you tap into most?
Yeah, by far the most. I have a. You know what? I'm not going to say what I use, because we don't want to expose our secret methods to watch NBA games and get it destroyed. So I watch the games. Yes, I tap in.
How as a professional basketball player, I've always thought this is kind of interesting, because obviously your perspective is quite a bit different than me, who has not played professional basketball, FYI. And I've always wondered, when you're watching, are you just watching as a fan, or are you kind of breaking things down in your head of like, this is what should have happened, or this is what they're trying to do? How do you go about watching a game as a person that's so deep into the sport?
It's crazy you say that, because with the Kings, it's different. I analyze how it works, and I kind of break down some of the plays and how things should work. But with other teams, I'm just watching. I'm just like, sometimes I'll describe a player or not, but the Kings, I get very upset by some of the decisions they've made. Sometimes with plays, most notably was last season when Harrison Barnes set a ball screen to switch Draymond Green to switch. It was I still remember that when De'Aaron had the ball going downhill. What was it, game 3? And then Harrison Barnes hit that ball screen and then pick and popped and missed the 3.
Oh,
that's game 4.
yeah.
Game 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still think about that all the time. Why wouldn't you let the fastest player in the NBA just go downhill from half court? But it's just there's some plays that I just think about a lot and break down. And sometimes I like being a fan though. A lot of all the other teams, I don't really care. So I watch. But
So, what do you take from your year here in Sacramento? Like, I loved covering you. Like, you and I had plenty of discussions in the locker room. You're a good dude, but you also played with a good group of guys. It wasn't like a highly successful team, but you had Dave Yeager, you had Zebo. You had some vets. You had Vince Carter there. But what was sort of your favorite takeaway from your time here in Sacramento?
Just the mindset of the fans, really. I mean, because it's a fan base that's just gotten, hasn't had a lot of success and has gone through some very tough times, but still the level of just positivity that they give to the players, even during down times. And that was really what I loved. I mean, it was just how welcoming they were and how kind. And like, listen, we didn't win a lot of games, and my DMs weren't full of people just being like, you stink. This whole team stinks. Everybody stinks. Like, I want you to tell so-and-so they're bad. Like, I've been on other teams where, I mean, when I was in Utah, people weren't always that kind. They were kind, but they weren't like Sacramento Kings kind. And, it's just, that was kind of what I liked a lot. And there's so many fans that I still talk to. And like, again, when Kyle was like, you got to come to the show, I was like, I will drop. I was almost going to do this in the zoo yesterday.
Yeah.
It was good time today. So, it's just
I'm going to be at the zoo, but I will walk away from everything.
I will tell the elephants to wait so I can go do this if
That's
you
right.
need me.
How was the zoo?
Oh, it was great. I don't know if you've heard of the cicada infestation we're having out here, but it was. Other than that, it was really good. Athena had time of her life. She was very happy.
That's your
Oh my
baby.
God. Yeah.
What is your favorite animal or exhibit to see at the zoo?
Oh gosh, that's a great question. I'm a big fan of the bears. We got there luckily during feeding time for the polar bears, and I watched a polar bear just eat a watermelon. It was the most eye-opening thing I've ever seen in my life. Whereas, there's like, oh, what animal could you take? No one can take a bear. No one can. The way this watermelon just evaporated in this thing's hands, no.
The PR, talking with Jack Cooley here, former Sacramento King, the PR that Coca-Cola has done for the polar bear is just insane. Yes. They will murder almost anything.
Oh, yes. Without hesitation.
Ugh.
Yeah,
Yes.
and that's coming from a very large man like Jack. If you don't think you can take on a bear, then I don't think Kyle or I could take on a bear.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I'm anti-fighting bear for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
I know that you're still a relatively young guy, so it's not like the end is near for you. But have you of your basketball career? I mean, have you considered what you want to do after basketball?
There are a couple things. I've had a few of members of different front offices poke at me and ask, "What are you doing when you're done?" And would you want to come do this? And that's an interesting angle. And I'm not ever going to take anything off the table, but I really kind of wanted to get into the media and broadcasting, that kind of aspect. I love basketball. I love talking about basketball, and I love being around the game. I know if I went cold turkey away from basketball, I would go insane. So I'm trying to think of something that I can do in that regard, and just something down that alley is really it. But again, I'm such a future Jack will deal with this thing to a fault at times that but at the time this is the first summer where I'm like, man, maybe I should go to some of these classes the NBA puts on and start getting into it.
No, that's a good idea. You had a front row seat to watch Vince Carter put on fireside chats with Vince Carter after every game, talking to the media, and we're all just sitting there like, oh, this is cool. Vince Carter's talking to us, but it was also look at this guy honing his skill. That's what he's doing. He's honing his skill the whole time. So Yeah, I think you would actually work out really well. You've got a big personality that like doesn't always come out, but when it does, I think you would be great with media stuff.
And you can get reps here anytime you want. You just
Yeah,
let us
just come
know.
and hang out with us. We're
Oh, we
totally
got
cool.
Thanks. Anytime you need a segment filled, just text me and I will tell the elephants they need to wait, and I will come as running if you guys need me. So
There we go.
What was your finals pick before the series?
to win between the
Yeah, win.
Celtics and the Mavericks,
Yeah.
I thought it would be Celtics in 6 is what I
Mm.
thought. I thought they would get one. I thought they'd get the second one in Boston and everybody get all excited, and they get the first one in Dallas, and then I thought that there'd be then the Celtics would just steamroll them after that. It's kind of the train of thought that I had, and yeah, it's just been man. I did not. I mean, obviously this could have happened, but man, this is something.
Just methodical.
It is. They're just so much better.
Yeah.
I mean, that's at the end of the day. Like we keep discussing it and trying to think of different ways to package it, but at the end of the day, the one team is just complete from top to bottom. You know, their top 7, their top 8, their top 9 are just way better than everyone else's top 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in the league, let alone better than the Dallas Mavericks. It's really wild to see.
But the thing is, it's the Celtics, so you don't know how they're gonna. They could lose to Miami Celtics or fall apart against the Al Horford doesn't move up above the free throw line against the Warriors Celtics. It depends on what Celtics team shows up. So you're like, maybe Luka comes out swaggering and blitzes them and they don't know what to do. And the way that they've come together as a unit, just as you said, methodically just dismantled them. Yeah. And just everything you love to do, you can't do it anymore. Has just been like, man, that execution has been hats off to Mazzulla, because this is the way he's orchestrated this dismemberment is incredible.
Talking with Jack Cooley, formerly of the Sacramento Kings. Yuta Watanabe, I believe, is going to play for the Chiba Jets in the league that you play in. Did that move the needle for you at all?
Is that confirmed?
I don't know if it's been confirmed. I saw the report that it's happening, but I have not seen like an official announcement or anything.
Wow, that I mean, yeah, it does see some. I mean, Chiba's like our sworn. We butt heads with them every single year.
You put them in the playoffs this year, right?
Yeah. And I don't know if they didn't make the finals and we did, so that's how that series went. And the Yuta Watanabe going to Chiba, that's something, man. I mean, good for there. Chiba's getting a new stadium. It's gonna be interesting, but we match up well with everybody. It's gonna be, but man, that is something. That is really something.
Yeah, it's not been like there's no official announcement yet, but reports are that that's happening.
Yeah, there's so many moving pieces behind the scenes of like if so and so goes here, so and so's leaving, and if this and that, and because people don't like each other, crazy. It's just like it's wild behind the scenes. It really is. I sent him a DM on Instagram, didn't ever see it, so I did my best to get it to my team. Didn't see it.
The recruitment effort didn't work out. Huh?
Yeah. So I'm over 2. I shot a shot at the Nebraska guard too, and just didn't see it either. So
the
Japanese Steph Curry.
Yeah, he didn't.
That's awesome.
K-Say didn't even read it. So
boo.
Haters.
Amazing.
Haters out here.
Your stats over there are pretty incredible. But it feels like winning is like all that matters, right? So like how have you done over there? What has been sort of your highlights?
So we made the finals the last 3 years in a row, and there's this mid-season tournament that we've also made the championship 2 out of the last 3 years. So out of the 6 possible last championships, we've been in 5 of them. Unfortunately, only won 1, but we have been there, and it's just the success, that culture that we're trying to build in this team is a level of just sustained success, and we don't want to be happy with going to the finals and losing. That's just not what we do, and I'm just trying to build this culture up again, because this team is relatively young. I believe it's about 10 to 13 years old, and to get to where we are now is just incredible. So I just want to keep
It is really cool seeing on Instagram and stuff. You post all the time, either photos with your teammates or highlights of your teammates making plays. Really trying to gas those guys up. That's a really cool thing. I feel like we need to see more of that in the U.S.
Yeah, no, it's a lot more team oriented over here in a lot of ways. So yeah, I love my teammates. I lost a couple of the ones that have been with me all 5 years are leaving this year, so a little bit sad. My younger brother basically on the team is he's grown up now. He's going his own way, so I wish him the best of luck. So it's yeah, there's a lot of camaraderie going on over there.
How have you done with the language barrier and sort of learning and on the fly and figuring it all out while you're there?
You know, I know a bunch of Japanese, but I haven't really learned as much as I want to, and it's a little disappointing. This year, I actually hired a tutor for this next year, so I'm going to you know what, I will go 5 years without learning the language, but I will be danged if I'm not going 6. You know, I will. That is where I put my foot down, and I will
the line.
go on. So I live in Okinawa, and there's a huge American influence with the military. So almost everyone there knows English. So it's kind of made it where I don't need to learn it. But I mean, again, I'm always like, Japanese people are so polite that they'll be like, "I'm sorry, I don't speak English." And I'll be like, "I'm in your country. Do not apologize that I don't speak your language. Like, please, this is my fault."
They're like, "I'm sorry for now, but if you get to year 6 without knowing, we'll not
We're
be
done
as
with
nice.
you.
We'll not be as nice." Hey, what's it like? I have two more kind of quick questions here. What's it like the first time you're at the mall and you just see this massive poster of yourself?
Pretty. It's just surreal. I mean, it's just a giant, just double me size poster of me, and I was like, wow, this is something. You're going up the elevators, like the signed autograph things are on the escalators, and like, I don't know. It's just the way this team is just the fans are so nuts. We can't go to the mall. Like after we won the championship last year, the team had to make a statement where they're like, "Hey, if you see them in public, just wave, but please." Like so many of you are running up and taking pictures and asking for autographs, which they're so nice, and I'll always do it. I don't care. I don't. But a lot of my Japanese teammates are a little more private with their private life. So, but me, I don't care. Come on, I'll sign everything. So
Awesome.
That's really cool. I have a request from our chatty house here, and this is a question we ask basically any guest who's a first timer on the show. What is your favorite cereal?
My favorite cereal. I'll say Lucky Charms. I'll go a little basic. Yeah, you know, it changes. Cinnamon Toast and Lucky Charms are one too. They alternate based on availability.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch is delicious.
Yeah,
I love it.
very good.
Okay.
But during the year, I don't eat sugar, or I limit sugar intake a lot. So you know, it's difficult.
That makes sense.
Got to keep that body
same thing.
fine oiled machine.
Well, that was my problem in Sacramento. Was I just gained so much weight because it was just there was a kind teammate that paid for my room service because they were a very nice person, and I took full advantage of that. And,
Did they know they did that?
Bill?
yes, they did know that they did that. I did not tell the front desk to put it on their room. So yeah, I gained a lot of weight, and but now I'm slimmed down a lot this year, so I'm just trying to keep it down. As I get older, you got to stay in shape more. It's better for injury prevention.
No doubt.
Yep.
That is Jack Cooley, former Sacramento King, a friend of the program, and man, throws a hell of a wedding as well. Jack,
Yeah.
we'll do this again soon. All right.
Yes, and Kyle was a peak member of that wedding, so thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Flying around. All right, buddy. Take care.
Good to see you,
Talk to you
Jack.
soon. All right, there he goes. That's Jack Cooley.